Well, good evening, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland today and the rest of the week. AJ in the other room, trying to keep me out of trouble the best he can. I want to tell you, AJ, I went from forgetting the candy was here to I ate 3 pieces.
Oh, I forgot you had candy in there.
Yeah, if you'd like some, it's I
You know
eat
what? I'm finna run up in there real quick.
I yeah, come on ahead. I ate all the dark chocolate because that is my
You would eat
weakness.
all the dark chocolate.
I walked right on into that. my my preference is the dark chocolate. And so there is now the only thing left is milk chocolate, and I'm thoroughly entertained by AJ over here. All right, I wanted to spend some time in this final hour talking about state legislation and what's going on in Montgomery. So I don't think I've been here since I got to go, but I literally went down to Montgomery. We're taking turns at 1819, going down and spending a week covering legislative session, which is really fun because while I've covered stories that that I follow that I want to follow, usually Second Amendment bills, or say the Girls Act, which protected girls in sport, or What is a Woman Act, things that were, my he went and got his own chocolate. I would like all of your dark chocolate. I'll trade you milk chocolate for dark chocolate.
But do you have a list of like what you got in there?
No, mine doesn't have a list. You just gotta look at it. I mean,
Say I got a list of.
oh, you got a list, and look at you. Okay. So I follow, generally speaking, follow the bills of topics I care about. The fun thing about going to Montgomery for 1819 was that I followed all the bills. We were just there covering what came up on the special order calendar. And for those of you keeping track, so legislative session in Alabama is 30 days. They being lawmakers and leadership, is doing everything they can to get this done really quickly. It's an election year. It's the fourth year. They want to get this done and get out of there. So they are on day 13 of the legislative calendar. If you're ever curious, I'm going to tell you how to do this. If you don't do this on your own, I know that on 99.5 we you hear a lot about federal stuff, some about the big Alabama stuff. But if you're curious, the name of the system that the legislature uses is Allison. So I literally go onto Google. I have it bookmarked, but I'll still go onto Google and just type in Allison, Alabama legislature, and it'll pop up. On the left-hand side, you'll see the number of the legislative day today, and it'll tell you, you'll see when the House and the Senate convene for that day. So they're convening now Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Most weeks they're doing that. So today was legislative day 13. The House convened at 1, the Senate convened at 2. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the House because they had some drama over the weekend. What was that drama, you ask? A recording of a House caucus meeting. 1 minute, mind you. Okay, somebody. And here's the thing: I am not, as in the media. I'm a fan of leaks because I'm like, whoo, give me the information. Tell me more. Tell me more. But I've been on the other side of this. I've worked for elected officials. Leaks really tick me off. Okay, so somebody, and so as a journalist, give me all the leaks you got. Okay, I'll take them every day. And you can find my email on all of my stories at 1819, or you can message me on X. But somebody recorded the Speaker of the House in a caucus meeting where all the Republicans get together and they talk. They're behind closed doors and they're candid with one another and everything. And the speaker was discussing, and there's been different stories on what was actually being discussed at the time. But the speaker was talking about just the challenges that they were facing in the House that week. Majority Leader Scott Stadhagen is running to be the chairman of the Alabama Republican Party because, as you guys know, the chairman of the Alabama Republican Party stepped down so he could run for lieutenant governor once Trump endorsed him. So there's Joan Reynolds, who's the acting or is the chair now, and she's running against Scott Stadhagen. And so he was the majority leader and he was distracted, is what sources say. And so, in a moment of frustration, the House Speaker said, and I'm not going to quote this because there's a cuss in there, but he said he could give a beep about the Republican Party. Now, he was talking about this in terms of his priorities as the Speaker of the House. He was talking about this as he is a uh, kind of one goal focused, which is what he's doing as speaker, and then the election slash reelection of the House members. Well, this audio recording was leaked over the weekend. It was actually one of two audio recordings that were leaked. And Scott Chip Brown was named the interim majority leader while Stat Hagen goes and runs for chair. It's going to be interesting to see. But in the meantime, the days go on. This limited 30 days, they tick on. So we are now at day 13, almost to the halfway point. And I'm going to go through just in this last hour, and I'll probably go through them a few more, a little bit more as the week progresses. They're ticking through bills. One bill that absolutely imploded. Whether or not they find a way to bring it back, I don't know. But was the bill that would take and it was very controversial, take the Public Service Commission, which right now is an elected body. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Take it and make it an appointed body. This did not go over well, and it didn't go over well for a number of reasons. But Mac Butler went on the record saying, "I was opposed to that bill from day one. Just day one, the minute I heard about it. Just never want to remove the vote from the people. The PSC definitely needs some help. We're not getting the job done currently, but I think with some simple legislation, we could mandate the hearings they haven't had since 1982. 1982. For those of you watching the YouTube live, I was born in 1981. Okay, that's a whole lot of gray hair. That's been a minute. That's been 44 years to be exact. Um, he said, "We are the highest in the region, third highest in the nation. I think we're 30 to 40% higher than TVA tells you. There's a problem." Now, keep in mind, the northern part of the state is TVA. The rest of the state is Alabama Power. There are some municipal elections, municipal utilities thrown in there. Um, there is a problem. The power company is recording record profits, so we're definitely need to do something. I did not think that this was the answer. According to the lawmaker, the PSC legislation has faced multiple obstacles in Montgomery, and so there has been a lot. It's been drama central. I'll keep you posted on this bill, but it sounds like it was. By the way, it was originally on the calendar. They got it through committee, Bizarro World Committee. They got it through committee. We're going to put it on the floor of the House and vote it out. Ended up yanking it from the calendar on Thursday. It did not get voted on. Probably part of the frustration that you were hearing from the speaker, by the way, on that recording was related to that. I don't. Okay, 205-545-9950. I'm going to go through some of these bills that I'm keeping an eye on. One is from David Faulkner, who's right here from our area. He's from Mountain Brook. He has a bill called the Sarah Marsh Act. It's Sarah Marsh's Heavens 27 Camp Safety Act. What I didn't realize until I talked to Faulkner, and I see him out and about just because he's here locally, is that it came. So Sarah Marsh was one of the campers who passed away in the flooding in Texas. As he was talking to her family, and then he started looking into camps here in Alabama, he realized that it is incredibly not regulated. And this actually I found very surprising because we regulate and we require background checks and all sorts of security stuff for our childcare facilities, as we should, rightfully should. But camps are not regulated that way. And while I'm a small government person, I am for protecting our most vulnerable. In this day and age, you can never be so sure. So this bill, it is House Bill 381, would put some regulations in place that require background checks. If you've got adults spending the night with campers, you want to make sure they've passed all of the same background checks that your daycare workers and your teachers have to go through. It would add some requirements for emergency and safety plans, developing emergency and evacuation plans. It also, like I said, would prevent certain convicted criminals from serving on staff. There would be an annual process. The Faulkner worked with the camps, different camps that already exist around the state to get this done. but it came to me as a surprise that this had to be passed, that we didn't have these regulations. All right, I'm going to go into some of the other bills, especially the ones I'm watching when we get back from this break. You guys hold tight. It's April Marie filling in for Leland. Well, good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. I guess evening it is 5, almost 5:20, 5:20 now. There you go. For those of you on the way home, be safe out there on the roadways. Don't text and drive, all the things. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. You can find me on X at APRYLMARIE. It's a double first name, so go by both for those who didn't know. But you can find me there. You can find my writings and my stories at 1819.com. And speaking of that, somebody on the line, Mike on the line, about 1819. Let's see. Hi, Mike.
Good afternoon. I didn't want to mess up your talk about Montgomery, but it
No,
dawned
that's
on
okay.
me. Your director had sort of a Charlie Kirk type affair canceled at the University of Montevallo.
Yes, that has been
He got
rescheduled.
it has
Yes.
good. I had not heard that. I just heard where he had been canceled with the death threats and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. So
It,
I appreciate that. Yeah, they and there was a walkout of students who were chanting and throwing fits about having him come to campus. The liberals have gotten so used to this self-imposed bubble that they created
yes,
that the leftist students went nuts about Brian Dawson, the CEO of 1819 News, coming.
yes. That's not my. I live in Montevallo. My wife graduated from there. I attended there. It has changed greatly in the time since we were there, and it's really shocking, you know, what it's become. And I'm surprised there haven't been more of these kind of things.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering if that was being rescheduled.
So it has. It is going to be March 5th now, and it is there. There's all sorts of security in place. I appreciate the call, Mike, and the support. So keep an eye out. I wrote about the event on 1819 News, but our founder and Tommy Tuberville and others spoke out to the university saying this has to be rescheduled. Like you have to allow him to come to campus. There
Yes.
is the Step Up to the Mic events that Turning Point USA is doing all around the nation, where it's literally, if you watch those old school Charlie Kirk videos, it's where he people are offered the opportunity to step up to a mic and challenge or debate or discuss, you know, one's ideas. And so Brian Dawson was scheduled to do one of these, and the leftists lost their minds. The leftist student population, which I didn't realize there was a lot of, but I'm learning that
Oh,
University
yes.
of Montevallo is very incredibly liberal.
Yes, it very much so is. At one time, one of the professors was the mayor of the little city. All kind of issues had popped up. It was a constant. It was very educational to me to see how they feel they infiltrate, take over, push their agenda through.
Yep.
And it was very scary to realize you couldn't talk with any of her supporters.
Mm.
There was no negotiating. You had to, they would scream down anything. There was no, I mean, it was very scary and very enlightening as to what we see on TV, how quickly it could come to your hometown.
Absolutely. And is that the president before the current one? Because because of prior issues, the university is facing an $8 million deficit.
Yes, ma'am. I
Wow.
don't know any particulars on that. I know the gentleman that I knew had stepped down, and I think he did an awesome job of sort of maybe not controlling, but managing the personalities and issues on that campus.
Yep.
But now that he's gone, you see
Oh yeah.
what their nature is, and
Yes.
I'm not shocked by what's going on.
Well, thanks for calling, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. So as I said, as Mike was calling in for, and I appreciate that, is Brian Dawson, and he's going to call in. We're working on the day, which day he's going to call in, but he's going to call in, and we're gonna talk for a bit. But Brian Dawson was scheduled to do this, stand at the mic event, or pick up the mic is what it's called, event with Turning Point USA, their college chapter there. And there, as soon as it was announced, the leftist students started threatening walkouts, and they started doing this, that, and the other. And then there were, in fact, threats. While I didn't publish the threats, I've seen some of them. As a matter of fact, one concerned me so much, I followed up and was like, okay, where are we on that? But he received threats, and the university and Brian. If you guys have heard Brian, if you haven't heard him, you're in for a treat when he comes on, because he's a big, strong personality. Like, makes me look meek, for goodness sake. He was like, no, we're going to do it. If we have to add more security, whatever we have to do, we're going to do it. And the university canceled, and which very frustrating. You do not give in. You cannot give in. We cannot give in to the leftist mobs, because that's what they want. They want us to back down. They want us to pretend. They want us to pretend that we need to shrink ourselves. We need to shrink our voices. We need to do those things. And so, but that event was rescheduled. I did have another story yesterday morning about the University of Montevallo. They are in such dire financial straits that they have cut a number of programs. I believe it was a total cut of about 16 or 17, but it included the Peace and Justice Studies program and the African American Studies program. I'm going to have a story coming up on those two on classes that were offered in those two programs. This is what's happening at our college campuses, guys. This is the brain rot is deep in these campuses. The Peace and Justice Studies program on their website says, quote, it examines the causes and consequences of economic disparity, institutionalized inequality, and strategies of peace building and conflict resolution, which is all taken from an absolute leftist, Marxist, communist perspective. The African American Studies program from their website says one of the core concepts is gain insight into the historical and contemporary struggles and triumphs of people of African descent through studying the effects and implications of racism, inequality, and injustice. I think everybody needs to know about the history of racism in our nation. That's a hands down non-starter. It's not worth arguing about. Does someone need to spend a year to a year and a half hearing people talk about all of the ways in which America is awful and racist? I think we could all argue that's not going to give you that's not going to get you into a career ready workforce position. And so some of the minors included. Now, I was actually one is cybersecurity. These are the minors cut: African American studies, cybersecurity, economics, Latin American studies, management information systems, nonprofit studies, peace and justice, philosophy and religion, and professional writing. So those were the programs, and then there were some concentrations cut as well. So we'll keep an eye out of what's going on there at University of Montevallo. Um, I wanted to get into some of the other pieces of legislation that are being offered. I mentioned the Sarah Marsh Act. That one is new. Anything related to child safety, even though, like I said, I'm going to, and not air quotes child safety, but actual child safety. Are we making sure that criminals who shouldn't be around our children are not around our children and spending the night at these sleepaway camps or even these all day camps? Seems like a no brainer. Additional bill sponsored that was introduced. Alabama State Senator April Weaver has introduced a bill in response to the protest that we've seen of ICE throughout Minnesota. Weaver represents Shelby, Bibb, and Chilton counties. She has proposed the crime of interfering with a first responder, which includes police, firefighters, and emergency medical workers. What we have seen, and I haven't spent too much time on 99.5 as these have really gotten out of hand, what we have seen is atrocious. It's ridiculous. These individuals who are out there blocking law enforcement, thinking they have a place. The number of videos I've seen of leftist women with that, which that's a whole different conversation, right? But leftist women who are essentially following these ICE agents in their vehicles, obstructing them in every way they can, uh, getting in the way of these lawful arrests, it's ridiculous. I hate that we need this bill. I hate that we have to tell people it's a crime to stop first responders from doing the job, but that's where we are. This bill deals with people who approach or remain within 25 feet and does the following: impedes or interferes, threatens, strikes, shoves, or kicks, or otherwise touches law enforcement. No brainer. It's a shame we need it. You guys hold tight. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. Good evening, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland today and throughout the rest of the remainder of the week. So if you've got questions or things you want to talk about, feel free to call in. I don't have access to the text line, but I do have the YouTube open. So if you are watching on there, I can see the comments. I've not been paying as much attention to it, so I say I'll missed one or two. But you can also shoot me a message on X. That's APRYLMARIE. If you've got me on Facebook, I'm terrible about Facebook. I'm horrible about it. And when I do post, generally I'm posting comedians, so not or jokes for that matter. So not very helpful on the political front on the Facebook, but you can reach me in other ways this week. Anne on the line from Columbiana, talking about, I believe she wants to talk about legislation. Hi, good evening, Anne.
Hey, April Marie, how's it going?
Going very well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
What's up?
So here's my issue with all these bills that are trying to get passed. So there are already stuff on these books with these people harassing the police. One's called harassment. If they can find these individuals are harassing them at these places, they're following them around. That's harassment. That's already a law. I don't understand why we're having to make new laws for all this stuff that's going on. Make me understand that, because I don't get it.
So this bill does, and it would make these crimes a Class A misdemeanor, punishable up to a year in jail. But what it says is when the officer is there, if they tell you got to step away, they have to instruct you. It's important. That's part of the bill. That you then get arrested. I think that this takes away the defense of if you see a lot of these protesters like, oh, I have a right to video you. Okay, you do, but you can't be in
so many
this
feet
space.
Away.
Right. So this gives a specific.
So that's already that's already a law. That's impediment. That's impediment of an officer. That's already a law.
Well, what they're doing
if
is they're
tell you once. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is I can ask and I don't mind asking April Weaver how this is different than what's already there. There is impeding law enforcement as a misdemeanor or a $600 fine. So maybe this does
adds a jail.
Adds more specifics. It says that this Alabama law specifically states that the current statute does not apply to obstructing or hindering the making of an arrest. And so,
How does it not include impeding an officer? I've seen officers arrest people on live PD. They do it all the time.
They do it. Well, I you know what? I am happy to find that out for you, Ann. I appreciate you asking.
I would be interested on the question to answer that, because I've heard this. I'm like, why do we keep having to make bills for stuff that's already law? I mean, I get amending the law, but making a new bill, that's just unnecessary stuff that we have to wait on Congress for.
Well, to wait on the legislature to finish up. I will say,
legislator, yes.
Yeah, we've seen some fly through. The bill that the governor has signed into law last week, which adds the death penalty for child abusers. Some of these, that
was great.
Yes, I'm so glad. By the way, I cannot state enough how important I think that bill is. But I will find out for you.
From Momo Ivy on that one. Momo Ivy gets a mark for that one.
Yes, she does. All right. Well, I appreciate you calling, Ann. I'll see what I can find out for you before tomorrow's show.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'm always happy to do that, by the way. If you've got a question about legislation, if you've got a question about things that are going on, and I don't know the answer, I'm happy to get the answer. I'll actually pull up the bill itself a little later and go through it. So. Legislature moving fast. Legislative day 13 right now. What they're doing is they're doing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in order to kind of get these days to fly by so that they can get into election mode, because that's where these guys shine. They shine in getting almost nothing done and then going out to tell you how much they did. I cannot stress this enough. Do not. We've got some challenging primaries around this area. We've got incumbents with primary opponents who are the real deal, who are, and I'm not going to name names here, but there are in fact lawmakers all throughout this listening area who have challengers, who are making compelling cases. What I implore each of you to do is to take the time to go to Allison. I mentioned the website earlier. Don't just read the mail pieces. That's easy. Don't just listen to the radio ads. Also easy. But go do the work. Go to Allison, pull up your state house member, pull up your state senator, and see what bills they've passed. See how effective they've actually been. If you don't go to Republican club meetings, I'm positive you can find someone who does. See if those lawmakers are showing up when it's not election time. See if they are out and about in the community. Like it or not, social media, you can go look at someone's social media presence and see what they're doing when they're not on the ballot. Because to me, that speaks so much more than what you're going to see on election time. Every meeting from here till the election day is with whatever Republican club there is, whatever forum there is, you're going to see all of these individuals because they want something from you. But the question is, what have they done for you? What have they done for us? And it's got to be more than talk. It's got to be actually getting out there, sponsoring legislation, co-sponsoring legislation. I'm a big fan of the idea of asking our lawmakers to repeal bills. Ann had a solid point. We have so many bills on the books. The state of Florida requires lawmakers, if they want a certain number of bill slots, to repeal a law. The only lawmaker I know in the state of Alabama is Chris Pringle down from the Mobile area, who does that, who puts in legislation and says, okay, there's these old laws on the books. Let's fix it. Let's get rid of them. I would love it if all of our lawmakers do that. But you can go, if you're not familiar, don't wait till election day to figure out who your lawmakers are so you know what they are or are not doing this legislative session. But take the time. You can go to the Secretary of State's website, and then you can look up your own voter information, and it's going to tell you every district you're in. It's going to tell you your House district. It's going to tell you there's a Board of Education seat in this listening area that's open, an open seat. It's going to tell you all of your districts, and then you go from there, and you can start doing your homework. Right now, they haven't even hit the halfway point of this legislative session. So you can go in there, you can see who your lawmakers are if you do not know your state lawmakers. You can see what they're sponsoring. You can see what else is going on. You can search the bills by topic. I'm always, and you guys know this, a big Second Amendment person. So I like to know, what have they done to protect my rights? What bills have they introduced? What else have they done? And so I really want to encourage you to take the time to do that. Speaking of Second Amendment rights, I'm going to make a plug here. I get to speak. I say I get to speak. I am scheduled for 2 speaking engagements, one of which is the Bama Carry, their annual conference. So if you're not a member of Bama Carry, check them out. I'll be speaking at their event, which is March 14th. So I would encourage you to do that. And then also, I always love to get to do this, but I get to go to the MARC meeting, which is the Mid-Alabama Republican Club. Usually it's me, Jeff Poor, Todd Stacy, and we do that it'll be at the Vestavia Hills Civic Center May 9th. Before I get out of here tonight, I will pull up the candidate forums, and I'm going to tell you guys where to find the people there. Look, I could sit and rant and rave about what's going on a national stage. I can tell you how absolutely insane it is that we as a country have normalized this transgender nonsense. I can tell you we could rant and rave about AOC on a national stage, embarrassing the crud out of our nation. We could talk about the Epstein files. We could do all of that all day. And I probably will for hours and hours and hours this week because I get to be here with you guys. But I want to encourage you to take the time, especially in an election cycle. Last year, I was hyping on getting to know your municipal candidates. This time, I want to say, don't take for granted that the name ID the name you know, should just automatically get your vote in these legislative elections, or even the popular vote for the major ones, for the U.S. Senate, for the lieutenant governor. Don't let name ID sway you. Don't let endorsements sway you. Get to know the candidates, because that's where the rubber hits the road. Who are they when they're standing in front of you? What have they done? What are they planning on doing? Take the time to find out the answers to those questions. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. My last one before this show wraps up. I can't believe the day just flew by. AJ, how many of your chocolates did you eat?
Oh, just one.
You have such self-restraint.
Yeah, I just ate one.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Did you eat dark chocolate or regular chocolate?
You know what? That's a good question.
You don't even know. He's
No, I just grabbed one.
he just grabbed a chocolate.
Yeah, that
Chocolate's a
was it.
chocolate to
Yeah.
AJ.
That's it.
All right, back in a minute. You are listening to April Murray filling in for Leland. Well, good evening, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. AJ keeping me out of trouble. So far, so good. 8 minutes to go. I feel like we're going to make it through this first day. I will be back again tomorrow, all the way through Friday, and we'll get into a little bit more to legislation. If you've got subjects you want to talk about, feel free to shoot me a message on X at APRYLMARIE. You can also shoot AJ a message over here on the text line. I'm not particularly great at the Facebook Live, but if you do go, or I'm sorry, the YouTube Live, but if you do go to it, I can see messages there. Or you can always do it the old-fashioned way and call in 205-545-9950. All right, we've got Chris on the line with Chris from Gardendale. Hey, Chris.
Hey, got a question for you. I've got an issue that I'm want to try to get changed through the law concerning the Alabama Department of Veterans Administration, the nursing homes there.
Okay.
And I've been told that it's going to take a law to be changed. Well, I've tried to contact my state legislatures, and I've got no results from that.
Do you know who your legislators are?
Oh goodness.
And now it's
you asked me.
Do you know where you're from? Gardendale?
Yeah.
I can look it up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But okay. So what I would say is what you can do. Is give AJ your number before you hang up, and I'll look and see. I'll look and see who your lawmakers are. The good news is, so Gardendale is represented by Gerald Allen as a state senator. I'm looking to see state house. It can be Heath Albright is most of that area, it looks like. So I don't know if either of those sound familiar. Jerry Allen is
No.
okay. Well, so what I always recommend is this. One is seeing them in person. Is getting the information together, looking at the current law as it is, looking at what you have in terms of what needs to be changed. The good news is, and during legislative session, is they open up, which means there will be a law that is related and in the same section as what you want or need changed. And sometimes something can be amended to make that change if it's a good law, and that obviously it depends. But I always recommend people, and this is something just in general, is don't be afraid to get these laws. I'll tell you what, I have had some crazy things changed over the years. I've had some administrative rules changed in different states. I've had people say, "Oh, that's a good idea," and pass legislation. But take what research you have, be able to show what you want done. And then get in front of them in person. And that's usually not that terribly hard to do, especially here in Alabama. So during legislative session. Oh, go ahead.
Alan Treadaway, I think, is one of them that I've tried, and I can't remember the other. Shellnut?
Shay Shellnut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the two that I know I've tried to get in touch with.
Okay, so I would say again, and you can, if anybody wants to know exactly who, maybe you've moved or maybe the lines have been redrawn or whatever, I would say if you go to My Alabama Votes, you can look up your own. It'll show you all your districts, and so you can look up who those are. The other thing is to look up the committee. So if you're looking at a veterans issue, look up the House Veterans Committee and the Senate Veterans Committee and call the chairs and co-chairs, even if they're not necessarily your representatives. But for whatever
the times I've tried calling, I've called them. Their phone goes to answering machine, and
and
their official
their official numbers will usually go to answering machines. But let's see if you can get your number and get you in touch with the right person. I'm not making promises, but I don't mind passing numbers along. But I will say the other thing is on their social media. I needed to get a hold of a lawmaker the other day for a story I was working on. So I literally went to Facebook, and they had a campaign thing. So it'll be like, April Marie for Senate. Never happened, by the way, but I'm just saying. April Marie for Senate, and then I go there and I send a message, and they're usually pretty responsive on social media. So that's another way if you can't get them by phone. But what I always tell people is know what you want, what you need, know what the existing law is, and then a
Yeah.
key point to any of this is in your mind game out who might be opposed to this. Sometimes you can't think of who would be
Yeah.
opposed to it. Other times you're like, okay, the vet I want this thing done for the veterans, but the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs is going to oppose this because it makes more work for them, or the federal
Yeah.
government will oppose this because they do something contrary. But whatever you are advocating for, and this goes across the board, no matter what the issue is, know both sides. Why should this happen, and who's going to want to stop it? And then that helps you have a better conversation. Okay, I've talked myself
Okay.
right out of a show, Chris. Well, I appreciate the call.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, he hung up, so we didn't get his number to pass along. But Chris, call back tomorrow and we'll get your information. All right, April Marie here. I will be back again tomorrow. Stay tuned for AJ and the guys, the boys, for Breaking Bread. And tune in tomorrow. Until then, stay out of trouble.
Goodbye, AJ.